What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Do You Want More, a UFC stat show right here on the Monkmatics channel. I am your host, Monk, aka the Monkmatician, and in this very episode, we're going to be going through all of the major stats for the main card of UFC Vegas 35, headlined by Edson Barboza and Giga Chikadze. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First fight of the main card, Mahmoud Muradav against Gerald Meershart. Yet another middleweight fight. 6'2" for Muradav, 75-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 31 years, 6 months of age. Gerald Meershart, 6'1", 77-inch reach, southpaw fighter, 33 years old, almost 34, so 2 years older than Muradav. Muradav professionally, 25-6, 3-0 in the UFC. 58% of his fights in his career have come to an end by KO TKO. 17 wins by KO TKO, only one loss. 20% of his fights have ended by submission, 3 wins, three sub losses there. 5 decisions and 2 decision losses. Gerald Meershart, 32-14 in the UFC, or 32-14 professionally, 7-6 in the UFC. Only 11% of his fights go the distance. 20% of his fights have been ended by KO TKO, 6 wins, 3 losses. 70% of his fights have ended by submission. 24 wins by submission, only 8 losses. Career or average fight time, 14 minutes for Mahmoud, 7 minutes for Gerald Meershart. 11.5 ass whooping index for Mahmoud Muradav. Sorry, it's the first fight of the card, so I'll explain it. Ass whooping index, self-explanatory, really. How much do you whoop ass in your fights? 0 is completely even, and a negative number means you got your ass whooped. So 11.45 is good for 12th in the division, and if you look right up here, it tells you what fight or what weight class this fight is taking place, middleweight, and then it tells you how many of those fighters I have in my database. So I have 63 middleweights in my database. 11.45 ass whoop index is good for 12th out of 63, so that's where I get these numbers. Power index 0.45, pretty decent. Perfect chindex 0, that's what you want. Gerald Meershart 3.48 ass whoop index, 0.66 power index, so better than Mahmoud, but a chindex of 0.91, that is much worse, obviously, than 0. 53rd out of 63 in the division. Odds. Mahmoud opened minus 235, currently minus 437. That's an 81% implied odds from Vegas. Oof. Gerald Meershart opened plus 200, plus 327 currently. It's minus 385, fight doesn't go, plus 265, fight does go. And I do not have any inside the distance or fighter wins by decision odds. Don't have that yet. So because I don't have that and a few other lines that I kind of base my capping off of, as well as statistics, these capping numbers for Monk's capping are not 100% accurate. They will change later in the week. I will either make an updated video with those numbers, or at the very least put out a tweet with all of those numbers that you would need for my capping. So not complete yet. Just want to get these stat videos out a little bit earlier than I usually do. No slacking this week, god damn it. Sunday's work day for us stat boys. So ask Uncle Wheezy. Fight finishing data. 66% of Mahmoud's wins in the UFC have come by finish. Never been finished in the UFC. All of Meershart's wins have come by way of finish. 2/3 of his losses have come by way of finish. He has been knocked out 3 times and subbed once. Graphs for fight finishing data. As you can see, there's our 2 knockouts for Mahmoud. And here is our 6 submissions for Gerald Meershart. Fantastic. And does have a knockout win as well. Hate to be that guy who got knocked out by Gerald Meershart. Let's see. Round finishing data. 2 of the 3 wins that Mahmoud have come by way of finish in the 3rd round. Gerald Meershart, 3 round 1 finishes, 4. 3 round 1 finish losses. 2 round 2 finish wins, 3 round 3 finish wins. Ass whooping index data. So anytime he gets a finish win, his average ass whooping index is 16.45. That's good for 41 out of 63, so not very high for finish wins. He's never been finished in the UFC. And in his decisions, you want to see a positive number here. 2.42, that's fantastic. Gerald Meershart, 18.36 AWI, negative 55.87, so that's pretty low. And an even higher decision ass-whoop index than Muradav, so very good. Basic striking data. Mahmoud lands 5.32 strikes per minute. That's 7th in the division, very high. He throws the 2nd highest in the division, 12.5 strikes per minute, significant strikes, at a 42.6% accuracy. His opponents land only 3.92 strikes against him, 65% defense. He's got a fantastic striking differential of 2.4 per minute. That's good for 4th in the division. He has that 5th highest striking defense as well at 65%. Really good offensive and defensive striking numbers from Mahmoud Muradav. Gerald Meershart, 3.31 strikes landed per minute at a 43% accuracy. Gets outstruck, however, 3.6 landed against per minute at a 51% defense. All run-of-the-mill numbers there. Negative 0.28 significant strikes landed per differential, 47th in the division. So a big disparagement. It's too late, man. It's after 2 in the morning. Excuse me. Big difference. How about that? Big difference. Not as fancy of a word, but I guess it doesn't matter if I can't fucking pronounce it in the first place. Advanced striking data. Muradav, 7.4. Significant striking efficiency, 7.4%. Meershart is a negative 5.4%. Muradav has fought 75% of his time at distance. That is the highest in the middleweight division. Meanwhile, Meershart has fought less than 50% of his time at distance, 49.73%. Let's see, that's the same number. Here we got one. Gerald Meershart, when he does throw 100 or more significant strikes in a fight, and that has happened 3 times, his significant strikes landed per minute output increases from 3.31 to 5.63. That's even higher than Muradav there. When he faces over 100 strikes, significant strikes in a fight, which has also happened 3 times, his strikes landed against per minute also goes up from 3.6 to over 5. That's the 7th highest in the division. Not a good look there. Knockdown data. 1 knockdown for Muradav, never been knocked down. 2 knockdowns for Meershart, 3 knockdowns against. That's a 0.49 knockdown against per 15 rate. And he has lost 2 of those 3 fights in which he's been knocked down. Basic takedown data. 0.36 takedowns landed per minute for Muradav at a 16.67% accuracy, 1 for 6. No one has landed a takedown against him, 0 for 5. His takedown efficiency is a 16.67. Meershart, on the other hand, attempted several more takedowns. 2.28 takedowns landed per 15 at a 44% accuracy. Only 1.5 takedowns landed against per 15 at a 44% takedown defense. That is pretty bad. You want to see at least, 70, 75. Takedown shooting rate for Meershart, 4.56. He has a negative 12.5% efficiency. Advanced takedown data. Let's see. Not much changes for Muradav. He's definitely a striking fighter. 95% of his fight time has been at distance. Less, half a takedown landed per 15 minutes. Gerald Meershart averages, 1.5 takedowns per fight in his wins, basically. The more takedowns he throws, the more likely he is to lose a fight, it looks like. In his losses, he averages over 3 takedowns per 15. In his wins, only 1.5. Basic control time data. Muradav has controlled 2.4% of his fight time. Has been out-controlled, but just barely, 2.8%. So that is a negative differential, but at that low of a number, who really cares? Meershart, 23.74% control time, 26.5% against. Also has a negative control time differential, negative 3%. Has fought 50.27% of his fight time inside the distance, and just 5% for Muradav, as we discussed. Muradov's get-up time, 3rd highest in the division, 14.2 seconds. His hold-down time, very low, 10.17. He doesn't want to be down there. Meershart, on the other hand, his get-up time, 91.5 seconds. He's not really trying to get up. He's looking for submissions. Hold down time, 41 seconds. Control time activity rate, much higher for Muradav than it is for Meershart, but Meershart spends much more, exponentially more time in control. Percent of grappling time controlled, 46% for Muradav, 47% for Meershart. So he is getting out controlled when they're grappling, when grappling is happening. Grappling be happening. Percent control time when attempting 2 or more takedowns, 3%. For Muradav, 37.5 for Meershart. Submission data, 11 submissions attempted for Meershart. What's that? Six of them have been successful. 6 attempts against, 5 of them he has stuffed. No reversals for Muradav, 4 or against. 8 reversals for Meershart, 3 against. 88.89% of the time a takedown is landed against Meershart, it gets reversed. 21% of the time he lands a takedown, it gets reversed. Advanced significant striking data. The middle column here is our accuracy and defense. The next column is our volume per minute. And the following column is our volume thrown per minute. So I'm kind of just looking to see what stands out to me here. For Muradav, defensively, fantastic. Offensive volume is amazing. Top 10 in most categories. Meershart, pretty run-of-the-mill. He has a decent body striking accuracy, but his volume is average to below average in most categories. Advanced significant striking efficiency and differentials, positive all across the board for Muradav. 23% body striking efficiency, 88% inside the distance striking efficiency. That means that he's 88% more efficient inside the distance than his opponent. Meershart, negative head striking efficiency, 10% body striking, 15% leg striking, and then negative at distance and inside the distance. Head striking differential, 1.38 head strikes landed per minute differential. That is crazy. Over 2 strikes from distance differential per minute, 2.28 for Muradav. 1.28 to the body. These are the highest numbers I've seen. I mean, all 3 of them to be that high, the highest numbers I've seen, for sure. And even where he is low, he's still positive for the most part. Gerald Meershart, pretty even across the board. Half a strike at distance differential. 1 strike negative on the ground. These numbers from Muradav are great, though. Advanced significant striking percentages. I'm kind of looking to see if guys are headhunting or not, basically, is what this is going to tell me. And then you can check out the rest of the numbers if you wish. This is basically saying the percent of significant strikes Muradav has thrown to the head, 78.9%, to the body, 17.9%, to the legs, 3.2%. Meershart has thrown 90% of his strikes to the head, 9.4 to the body, 1.4 to the legs. 96% of Muradov's strikes have been thrown from distance. And there is a graphical representation of all of those stats that we just talked about and many more. Last 5 fights, Muradov's stats are going to be the exact same, so we don't need to look at those. Meershart, on the other hand, he is 2-3 in his last 5. Not great striking numbers. His volume is there, 5.5 per minute. Takedowns, not really there, though. Only 1 takedown landed in his last 5. That's the same as Muradav, who doesn't go for takedowns. 33% takedown defense. What's his striking defense? 55.8. He's got a .72 strikes per minute differential, a negative takedown differential, positive 3.2% control time differential. His ass whooping index is negative. His power index is good, 0.59, but his chin index is really, really bad, 1.36. And you're going against a striker named Mahmoud Muradav. That's not the time you want to fight a guy who knocks the people the fuck out when you got a chin index of 1.36. Let's take a look at his categorical trends. He's up 6.25% in his takedown accuracy. His significant striking defense, 4.75% over his last 5 compared to his career. His accuracy is down. His volume is way up. 2.19 significant strikes landed per minute in his last 5 compared to his career. That's very interesting. And his defense is better. Down a whole strike in his last 5. Let's see. Strength of schedule. This these are the only other stats I pull outside of the UFC. So no matter where they fought, their last 5 fights are included in these strength of schedule stats. You want to be, in between, 70, 75 is nice. Anywhere above there is pretty good. You're in the high 80s to low 90s, you're doing great. Mahmoud Muradav hasn't fought much of anyone. Sanchez, Trevor Smith, and then Alessio Di Chirico. Below 70 all the way across. Gerald Meershart has fought a bit better competition. 77.6% opponent win percentage. 76 strength of schedule, 76 strength of victory, 79 strength of defeat. Pretty good there. He did lose to Kamzat. Ian Heinisch knocked him out as well. Not a good look. And then Eric Anders, split decision. That was a very close fight. So there are the fights there if you'd like to take a look. I'm not really going to get into those numbers too much. And then our graph here, the last things we're going to look at. This is just a graphical representation of certain categories against their opponents over the past 5 fights. So I'll quickly break it down for you. The blue line, solid blue is our opponents. Solid blue is our fighter. Solid orange is our opponents. Dashed blue is our trend line for that category. Dashed orange is our opponent's trend line. Solid green is our fighter's average for that category. Solid yellow, our opponent's average. So you want the solid blue to be above the solid orange. That's the volume. You want to be trending up, obviously. You want your opponents to be trending down, but at least not trending up as high as you. And you want your solid green, which is your average for that category, above your opponent's solid yellow. So here we're looking really good for Muradav. Striking, trending way up. Blue's way above the orange. We got our average, almost double of our opponent's average. We're looking great as far as striking goes. Takedowns, hey, complete zeros from our opponents. We actually have a takedown, so we have some numbers here that we're trending up with. And then control time, pretty even, both trending up, and our average is right there with our opponent. Gerald Meershart, on the other hand, trending down in his striking. Opponent's striking way above his striking, and it's trending up. Takedown data, trending down for Meershart over the past 5. Opponents trending way up. That's mostly due to Bartosz Fabinski, but, still trending way up. Control time is trending up. It's the only good graph of his set. Opponent's trending up, but not as steeply, and that's mainly because he got a little bit of control time in that Fabinski fight. But he's still pretty close to his opponent's average over there. All right, guys, that's the first fight. Second fight, we're going to have about 3 of them on this card that I don't have any stats for. And that's because this is a tough finale card. So this one might be a little quicker than usual, which I'm sure no one has a problem with, least of all me. Andre Petroski versus Michael Gilmore. Neither of these guys have any UFC fights, so this is going to be very quick. I only track UFC stats, like I said. I don't even track Dana White Contender Series fights. Unless that's the only fight I have stats for, then I will take it. But let's go through what little we do have. Andre Petroski, middleweight fight, 6 foot, 73-inch reach, 30 years old. Gilmore, 5'11", 74-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 34 years old, so 4 years older than Petroski, who has a professional record of 5-1. Gilmore 3-6. Petroski, let's see, none of his fights have gone the distance. He has 3 knockout wins, 1 knockout loss, and 2 wins by submission. Michael Gilmore, 3 wins by knockout, 3 losses by submission, and 2 wins by decision. Line move or upcoming fight odds. Petroski opened at -175. He's currently -395. There is some crazy line movement on this card so far. I'm going to let it settle. I'm not even going to look at the odds again until Tuesday, probably. That's a lie, but I'm going to wish that I didn't. I just want him to settle a little bit. That's all I want. Michael Gilmore opened +145, currently +297. This fight's -265 doesn't go, +185 does go. Again, these capping numbers are not accurate as of yet because I have no distance odds and a few other odds that I base my capping numbers on. So we'll just keep it moving. I'm sure that is probably about what it'll look like, though. Probably more than that. I have no stats, guys. Look at all this. Look at all these no stats that I have. I'm only scrolling down just to show you strength of schedule because that's the only one I have left. Petroski, abysmal strength of schedule, 52% opponent win percentage, 57 strength of schedule, 40 strength of victory. He's beaten cans. Cans, 83 strength to defeat. So when he has lost in his past 5, I guess that guy had a, these guys have a good record. Michael Gilmore, better strength of schedule, but still piss poor. 62% opponent win percentage, 59 strength of schedule, 50 strength of victory, and a 79 strength of defeat. So the guys these guys are losing to have decent records, but that's it. And we're going to have to tape this fight, guys, because we have nothing. I have no stats on this. That was easy. Next fight. My personal fight of the night, probably. Maybe. Kevin Lee, Daniel Rodriguez. I'm looking for a reason not to bet Daniel Rodriguez here, but that's another show. Kevin Lee, 5 foot. This is a welterweight fight, actually. So Kevin Lee is moving back up to welterweight for this fight. He's 5'9", 77-inch reach, orthodox fighter. Not quite 29 years old. Let's see. Daniel Rodriguez, 6'1", 74-inch reach. Southpaw fighter, 34 years old. So he is, 6 years older? Kevin Lee, professional record, 18-6. He's 11-6 in the UFC. 17% of his fights have been ended by KO, TKO, 3 wins, 1 loss. He has 8 submission wins, 3 submission losses. Daniel Rodriguez, 15-2 professionally, 5-1 in the UFC. 47% of his fights have been ended by KO, TKO, 8 wins, never been knocked out. 4 wins by sub, never been subbed. So he has no finish losses on his record in 17 fights. Average fight time, Kevin Lee, 11.8 minutes. Daniel Rodriguez, just under 10. AWI for Kevin Lee, 10.95. Has a 0.13 power index and a 0.31 chin index. Daniel Rodriguez, better all around. A higher ass whoop index, 12.01. A better power index, 0.81. And a better chin index, barely, but still better, at 0.3. Odds for this fight, minus 130. Kevin Lee opened at. He's currently minus 152. Daniel Rodriguez opened plus 110, currently plus 127. This fight is minus 125, doesn't go, minus 115 does go. Let's see here. Fight finishing data. 63.64% of Kevin Lee's wins have come by finish. 66% of his losses, he has been finished. Daniel Rodriguez, 60% finish win rate in the UFC. All of his losses by decision. He has 2 knockout wins, 1 submission win. Kevin Lee, 3 knockout wins, 4 sub wins, 1 knockout loss, and 3 submission losses. Round finishing data. Kevin Lee, a couple big finishes in the first round, 4 of them. 2 round 2 finishes. He's been finished in the first round once. Daniel Rodriguez, 2 first round finishes, 1 second round finish. Some decent ass whooping index numbers there from Kevin Lee. Almost a 7 in his decisions. Very good. Daniel Rodriguez right behind him in both categories. Basic striking data. Kevin Lee, 3.9 significant strikes landed per minute. 43% accuracy. He gets hit with 3.23 strikes per minute at a 52% defense. That's good for a 0.67 significant strikes landed per minute differential. Daniel Rodriguez, on the other hand, 8.29 significant strikes landed per minute. That's the second highest in the whole welterweight division. I believe only Kazmat Chimaev is above him at over 9. Striking accuracy, 49%. Gets hit with 5.55 strikes per minute at a 56% defense. That's a huge striking differential of 2.74 significant strikes landed per minute. Again, second in the division. So big striker, Daniel Rodriguez. Lots of volume, lots of power. I mean, look at this significant strikes thrown per minute, almost 17. That is first in the division. Advanced striking data, negative 5.4% for Kevin Lee, positive 5.1% for Daniel Rodriguez. Kevin Lee, 49.7% of his fight time is at distance, while 88% of Rodriguez's fight time has happened at distance. Those are pretty similar. Knockdown data, 1 knockdown for Kevin Lee in his, 17 UFC fight career. 2 knockdowns against, 4 knockdowns for Daniel Rodriguez. That's 1 per 15 minutes, 8th in the division. Has been knocked down once. Did not lose that fight, though. Did win that fight. I just taped it as well. I cannot remember who. Oh, it was, could just scroll down because it's driving me crazy. White Grant. Yeah, he was almost finished in that one. Let's see. Takedown data. 3.21 takedowns landed per 15 for Kevin Lee. This is where Kevin Lee's going to have the big advantage. 43% accuracy. 0.75 takedowns landed against per 15. That's very good. 75% defense. 5.42% takedown shooting rate. Takedown efficiency 18.43. All pretty good numbers. Daniel Rodriguez, 0.25 takedowns landed per 15, so does not throw. He's 1 out of 4. 25% accuracy. Same number. Takedowns landed against per 15, 0.75. Look at this defense, though. Even better than Kevin Lee. 83%. 15 stuffed takedowns for Rodriguez. 8.33% efficiency. Takedown data. Advanced takedown data. Let's see. When Kevin Lee wins, he gets 3.67 takedowns per 15. When he finish wins, he gets 4.13. So the more takedowns, the better for Kevin Lee. Basic control time data, 42.75% for Kevin Lee. That's 8th in the division, and only 7.5% control time against. That's a huge control time differential, 35.28%, 7th in the division. 50% of his fight time has happened inside the distance. Let's see here. Daniel Rodriguez controlling only 2.3% of his fight time, 9.6% controlled against. That's a negative control time differential. Just under 12% control or fight time inside the distance. Advanced control time data. Kevin Lee, 22.5 second get up time. Very good. 52.5 second hold down time. Daniel Rodriguez, even quicker, 19.28 second get up time. 12th in the division. Hold down time, 20.75. He's not looking to be on the ground. He wants to keep it standing, obviously. Third highest control time activity rate, Daniel Rodriguez. So when he is in control, he is doing work. Compared to 6.57, that's 43 out of 69. Kevin Lee controls 85% of the grappling time in his fights, while Daniel Rodriguez is the opposite, controlling only 19% of all grappling time in his fights. Submission data. Kevin Lee, 11 submissions attempted, 36% success rate. Daniel Rodriguez is 1 of 1. There have also been 11 submission attempts against Kevin Lee, 72% defense rate, so pretty low, 34 out of 69 there. Reversal data, 2 reversals for, 2 against for Lee, nothing going for Rodriguez. 20% of the time a takedown is landed against Kevin Lee, he reverses it. And advanced striking data, what are we looking for? Pretty high accuracy to the body, legs, but balances that out with poor distance accuracy, distance defense. Everything's pretty run-of-the-mill here for Kevin Lee. Daniel Rodriguez, on the other hand, his volume numbers are pretty much top 10 all across the board. Accuracy and defense numbers, better than average in most categories. So the much better striker, Kevin Lee, clearly the better grappler. Advanced significant striking efficiency and differentials. Negative, a few categories for Lee. He's positive in body striking efficiency, plus 12.38 leg striking efficiency. Daniel Rodriguez is positive, however, in every category. 10.5 to the head, 14 legs, 58% inside distance striking efficiency. His head striking differential is 3.11 per minute. That's even higher than, who were we looking at? I don't even remember at this point. That is crazy. 3.11 head strikes per minute difference. Kevin Lee almost won. He's got a 1.04 ground striking differential. Very good. Daniel Rodriguez, 2.76 distance striking differential. All right. 87.8% of the significant strikes Kevin Lee has thrown have been to the head, 11 to the body, only 1 to the legs. Daniel Rodriguez, a bit more even across, 83% to the head, 9.2% to the body, 7.6% to the legs. However, 97% of all strikes he's thrown have come from distance. Meanwhile, Kevin Lee, 75% for that same category. Here are the graphs for that. And then our last 5 fights, Kevin Lee is 2-3, D-Rod is 4-1. Much better numbers from Daniel Rodriguez across the board in striking, especially where it counts. Kevin Lee has the takedown numbers, but not defensively. Defensively, Daniel Rodriguez, 86.67% takedown defense. Fantastic. Only getting controlled under 11% of his fights. Kevin Lee, very low control time against as well. Striking differential, 0.8 per minute for Kevin Lee. Over a 2 takedowns landed per 15 differential in his last fight. Over almost 40% control time differential. Fantastic numbers from Kevin Lee. We got a great striking number from Rodriguez, 3.05 per minute differential, but then the takedowns negative, control time is negative. Ass whooping index, pretty close, 10.29 to 11.2. Daniel Rodriguez, more power, but more chinny as well. Kevin Lee has not been knocked down in his last 5 fights. Pretty even keel over his last 5. Not too much of a difference in numbers there. And nothing's really jumping out at me to Daniel Rodriguez. He has increased his takedown defense by 3.33% over his last 5. Striking accuracy is up 1%. Same with Kevin Lee. Strength of schedule. Kevin Lee, 75% opponent's win percentage, 76 strength of schedule, 78 strength of victory, 74 strength of defeat. Pretty good numbers there. Daniel Rodriguez, not quite as good except for strength of defeat. As we said, 2-3 for Kevin Lee, 4-1 in his last 5 is Daniel Rodriguez. Take a look at those numbers. Thing that jumps out to me here is the ass whooping index for each fighter. Much higher for Daniel Rodriguez in his wins compared to Kevin Lee, with the exception of the Gregor Gillespie head kick. My God, put him on Jupiter. And then here are the graphs for those categories. Significant striking, trending down for Kevin Lee, opponents trending up, but his average is still above opponent's average. Same with the takedowns, but he's way higher than his opponents by a lot, over 2 takedowns per 15. And then control time, same deal, way above his opponents, not even close, just dominating. So he's got 3 good looking graphs there, Kevin Lee. Daniel Rodriguez increasing his striking, opponents going way down, very good, up by over 3 strikes per minute. Takedowns trending way down, opponents trending up. You don't want to see that. And then control time, he's way down at the bottom, opponents about 5 times what he is, but trending down as well. So this is really going to come down to, can Daniel Rodriguez stop Kevin Lee from A, taking him down, and B, controlling him if he does take him down? Can he pop right back up if he gets taken down by Kevin Lee? Or can he just land some big shots on Kevin Lee and finish it up quickly? I guess we will see. Next fight, Ricky Turcios. Whoops, I can't spell. I have not been watching The Ultimate Fighter this year, so I have no idea who these guys are. I don't know how to pronounce their names. They have no UFC fights. Turcios has a Dana White Contender Series fight, which I guess we could talk about. Brady Heistand has nothing. Turcios, this is the bantamweight 135 tough finale fight right here. 5'9", 71-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 28 years old. For Heistand, 5'8", 71-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 22 years old, so 6 years younger. Turcios 10-2, 0-1 in the UFC. Well, no, and he lost his Dana White Contender Series fight, I should say. So if you're like me, you're gonna fade the crap out of this guy. Heistand 5-1 professionally. 50% of his fights have ended in knockout TKO, 2 wins, 1 loss. Let's see, 58% of Ricky's fights have gone to decision. So, in fact, we're not even going to cover this. I hate talking about Dana White Contender Series fights. I don't think those stats, I take no consideration from those stats whatsoever. And his are terrible. High volume, 7.33 landed per minute. His accuracy is god-awful. 19.4 significant strikes thrown per minute in his Dana White Contender Series fight, which lasted all 15 minutes. So 19.4 strikes thrown per minute. He landed 7 for a 37% accuracy. Wow. And as you can expect, no takedown numbers. 0 of 5 landed. And we're skipping Brady because we have no stats. Look at these huge negative striking efficiency numbers. -20, -30, -11. Insane. 2.93 distance strikes landed per minute differential. 60% strikes thrown to the body, 23 to the head, 23 to the body, 16 to the legs. So he likes to mix it up. That's what I'm taking from this. Those are going to be the same numbers. Does have a 7.53 ass whooping index. How's that possible? He lost a decision in the Dana White Contender Series to Boston Salmon. This was in 2017, by the way. He landed 110 strikes. Is this accurate? I might have switched the numbers. I'm going to have to look at this. I shouldn't even be spending a lot of time here. But I did want you guys to see the strength of schedule numbers. Pretty bad for Ricky, right? But he dominates all of them. Look at this. Brady's opponents are 12 and 31 in their past 5 fights. 12 and 31. I feel like I have a mustache hair in my nose. I'm sorry. I'm going to take care of it because it's itching me. There we go. 0.38 strength of schedule. That's one of the lowest I've ever seen. This is literally the lowest number I've seen on here. Strength of victory, 0.07. So does that mean that's insane. So the guys he's beat have the worst records imaginable. Strength of defeat, 0.67. These are just really bad. 0.07 strength of victory. That's the definition of beating cans. The definition. And the fact that he went to decision with even one of them, he should be embarrassed. Anyways, so that should be a good fight? Question mark? Brian Battle. This is another one. In fact, we don't even have a Dana White Contender Series fight for this. This will be super quick. Brian Battle against Gilbert Urbina. This is the other tough finale. Apparently there's 2 weight classes. This one is the middleweight 185 finale. Brian Pooh Bear Battle. 6'1", 77-inch reach. Orthodox fighter, almost 27 years old. Gilbert Urbina, 5'9". I don't know his reach, and neither does the UFC, apparently. They don't know his stance either, and he is 25 years old. 6-1 professionally for Urbina, 5-1 for Battle. Battle finishing most of his fights by submission. And same with Gilbert Urbina. I guess most of his fights have gone to decision. Yeah, we don't know anything about this. Brian Battle opened -129. He's currently -168. Urbina -101. Currently +140. +140 fight doesn't go. -170 fight does go. And we got no stats. Oh, God. Another terrible strength of schedule. Look at this. Not as bad as the .07 for Brady high stand, but oof. Opponent's professional record for Battle, 7-14, 33%, 43 strength of schedule, 33 strength of victory, 33 strength of defeat. This guy's beating cans too. Pooh Bear. Beating cans of honey, most likely. Gilbert Urbina, much better numbers, but nothing to brag about, I guess. 75.6 win percentage, good. 65% or 65 strength of schedule, not good. 63 strength of victory, not good. But a perfect strength of defeat. So the guys that have beaten him are undefeated. They have no losses. Then I got no graphs. All right, last fight of the main card for UFC Vegas 35, Edson Barboza against Giga Chikadze. Very excited for this fight for obvious reasons. Flyweight fight. Edson Barboza, 5'11". Let me stop slouching here. Talk about this. Oh, if you're wondering, no, not batting for the Chinese. This is my MF Doom King Ghidorah shirt, rather. Edson Barboza, Giga Chikadze. Edson, 5'11", 65-inch reach. Orthodox, 35 years old. Giga Chikadze, 6 foot, 74-inch reach. Orthodox stance, 33 years old. So pretty comparable there. Comparable. Professional record for Barboza, 22-9. He is 16-9 in the UFC. 51.6% of his fights have ended by knockout TKO, 13 wins, 3 losses. Less than 10% ended by sub, 38% go the distance. Giga Chikadze, 53% ending KO, TKO, 8 wins, 0 losses. 1 submission win, 1 submission loss. 33% of his fights go the distance. Average fight time, 11.46 for Barboza. 10.82 for Chikadze. 0.18 ass whoop index for Barboza, so very low, but positive. 41st out of 70. Has a huge power index, 1.17. Good for 14th in the division. Chindex, 0.25. So average there, a little below. Chikadze, 7.16 AWI, whooping people's asses out there in the featherweight division. 16th highest. 1.65 power index. That's 8th in the division. Perfect Chindex. So we are working with some very powerful guys here. You don't need me to tell you that. Upcoming fight odds, -150 for Barboza. Currently -110. Giga Chikadze opened up at +130. Current line is about a +100. I should have changed that. -135 fight doesn't go. -105 fight does go. Fight finishing data. Half of Barboza's UFC wins have come by way of finish. 55.5% of his losses have been finishes. Giga Chikadze, 33% of the UFC wins are finishes. Never been finished. And has never lost a fight in the UFC. 6-0. I feel like I didn't read that. His professional record's 13-2, and he is 6-0 in the UFC. Graphical analysis of the finishes. Let's see. Giga has 2 round 1 finish wins. Edson has 2 as well. He has 2 round 2 finish wins and 4 finish wins in the 3rd round. He's been finished in the 1st round 3 times and once in the 2nd. Once in the 5th as well. Ass whoop index per finish win, decent. 22.39, but Giga Chikadze 65.6. That's the 6th highest for that category. Never had a finish loss and a positive ass whoop index in his decisions, 2.39 compared to a negative 1.26. Basic striking data, Barboza, 4.16 significant strikes landed per minute, 44.5% accuracy, almost the same exact volume coming back at him, 4.15 landed against at a 60% defense. That is a perfectly even, almost striking differential. Giga Chikadze, 3.74 landed per minute, 43% accurate, 2.5 strikes landed against per minute, great defense, 64.63%, great striking differential, 1.25 per minute. That is 13th highest in the division. Advanced striking data, Barboza, 4.24% striking efficiency compared to 7.49% for Chikadze. Chikadze fighting 85.72% of his time at distance. That is 3rd highest in the division. Barboza with almost 80% as well, 10th highest in the division. Those are about the same number. Knockdown data, 14 knockdowns, 2nd highest at featherweight for Edson Barboza, 0.73 knockdowns per 15. Has been knocked down 3 times. Knockdown per 15 differential, 11th highest at featherweight, 0.58. Wins 91.6% of all fights in which he scores a knockdown, and he has lost every fight in which a knockdown has been scored against him. Giga Chikadze, 4 knockdowns, has a 0.92 KD per 15 rate. That's even higher than Edson. 8th in the division, never been knocked down, and he has won every fight in which he has scored a knockdown. Basic takedown data. Barboza lands 0.42 takedowns per 15 at a 44% accuracy. Gets 1 takedown landed against per 15, but a great takedown defense at 78.4%. That gives him a negative takedown per 15 differential, but a positive 22.85 takedown efficiency. Chikadze, on the other side, 0.46 takedowns landed per 15 at a 40% accuracy. Very close numbers. Just over 1 takedown landed against per 15, over or at 75% defense. Fantastic. Negative takedown differential, but a positive 15% efficiency. So very close numbers patterned after each other as well for this basic takedown category. Advanced takedown category, again, similar numbers, very similar numbers. This is interesting. When Edson Barboza attempts 2 or more takedowns, that's happened in 5 out of his 25 fights, he has lost 3 of those fights. More takedowns, the worse for Barboza. Control time data, 6% control time for, 15% against. Chikadze, 3.6% for, 10% against. So both with a negative control time differential. Time fighting inside the distance, 20.5 for Barboza, 14.2 for Chikadze. I mean, these stats are pretty similar. Get up time, 28.5 seconds for Barboza, 57 seconds hold down time, 20 seconds Chikadze, get up, 28 hold down. 8.9 control time activity rate, which is about average for the featherweight division. Chikadze is way up there. 32.57 control time activity rate. That is third highest. He's only got 2 minutes control time, but that is a crazy number right there. Percentage of grappling time controlled, 25% for Chikadze, 29% for Barboza. Submission data, 0 for 2 for Barboza. Chikadze has not attempted, nor has he had a sub attempted against him. Barboza, meanwhile, 5 subs thrown against him. He has stopped 3 of them. No reversals for or against for Barboza. 2 reversals, rather, for Chikadze. 40% of the time a takedown is landed against him. He reverses it. Advanced significant striking data. What's jumping out here? Not much, actually. Body strikes, great for Barboza, and leg strikes, fantastic. Over 1.1 per minute for each body and leg. Great accuracy. Defensively, pretty good numbers for Chikadze as far as body and legs go. We'll see if he can check all those kicks. Striking efficiency and differentials. Body striking efficiency, 7.3 for Barboza. Negative 2.6 as far as leg striking efficiency goes. A positive 7 and almost positive 10 for at distance and inside the distance striking efficiency. Giga Chikadze, positive numbers all the way across, except for inside the distance striking efficiency. It is a huge negative 51.81%. Head striking differential per minute, negative 1.19 per minute for Barboza. That's a big differential, but his body striking is a 0.6, leg striking is also a 0.6, and his distance striking is a 0.59. All positive and all good numbers. Chikadze, 0.69 head striking differential per minute, 0.82 distance striking, positive body, positive leg, positive ground. Very good striking numbers for Giga Chikadze. Advanced striking percentages. Great numbers here. My favorite on the card. 65% of all significant strikes thrown from Edson Barboza have been to the head, 19 to the body, 15.8% to the legs. That's amazing. Giga Chikadze, 74.6 to the head, 15.7 to the body, and just under 10 to the legs. 95% of all strikes thrown, significant strikes thrown rather, from Barboza have been from distance. 87.5 from distance for Chikadze. No clinch work for either of them, really. Graphical representation of those numbers. And we have our last 5. 2 and 3 for Barboza. Giga Chikadze, 5-0. A perfect 5-0. These numbers are pretty back and forth as far as striking. Offensively, Edson Barboza has the better numbers. Defensively, it's going to Chikadze. Takedown numbers are going to have to go for Giga. Control time, offensively for Barboza, but defensively for Giga. Both have 4 knockdowns in the past 5. Edson knocked down once. Chikadze not knocked down at all. Striking differentials in the last 5, 0.63. Takedown, negative 0.77. Negative control time diff. Giga, 1.12. Significant strikes landed per minute differential. Huge. Negative 0.3 takedowns landed. Negative 5 control time. So both negative on the different the takedowns and the control time diff. but big numbers from the striking. Ass whooping index for Barboza over the last 5, 1.68. It's got a nice 1.41 power index, but a not great 0.41 chindex. Chikadze 9.34 ass whooping index, huge number. 2.17 power index, even bigger, and a perfectly zero chindex. Another mustache hair. Please excuse me. Notice I'm not picking my nose. Thank you. 6.5% increase. Significant striking accuracy for Barboza over his last 5 compared to his career. Huge drop-offs in takedowns. Minus 11% defense and accuracy. Chikadze minus almost 2% accurate. Significant striking. Minus 6.67 takedown accuracy, but he has improved his takedown defense by 10% over his last 5. Very good strength of schedule numbers here from Barboza. 79% win percentage, 78 strength of schedule, 76 strength of victory, and an 81 strength of defeat. Fantastic. Chikadze 72s, 70s, and 72, so not as good and a bit below average. Some big wins. 2 of 3. Shane Burgos, he did beat Makwan Amirkhani. Lost to Dan Ige, Paul Felder in a very close fight, and got smashed up by Justin Gaethje. Chikadze's perfect in his last 5. Cub Swanson, Simmons, Morales, Rivera, and Jamal Emmers, who's also fighting on this card. Some big time ass whooping numbers there from Giga. And then we will lastly take a look at these graphs. Let's see. Barboza trending up in striking. Opponents trending down. He is above his opponents as well. Good looking graph there. Not dominating, but he is getting the better of all of his opponents for the most part. The exception of Gaethje. But that's pretty difficult to do. Trending downwards in takedowns. Opponents trending up, and his opponents are way above his average. Control time, same thing, but his opponents are trending down. That is the big difference. Chikadze, look at that striking. Boom, going way up. Average way over his opponents. Takedowns for and against, crashing into the ground. Not much to speak of. Control time, he is trending up at a pretty good rate. Opponents trending down, but still getting out-controlled in his last 5. And there we have it, guys. That is going to be all of the stats. All of the major stats, I should say, for UFC Vegas 35. Barboza versus Chikadze. I really appreciate you sticking with me for this long. If you haven't yet, do me a favor, like and subscribe. You will not regret it. I'm be bringing you stats every week, a couple videos for the prelims and the main card. Also be doing DraftKings breakdowns, projections, all the DraftKings stats you could ever ask for, and probably too many that you don't even need. And then at the end of the week, a predictions video. Picks, bets video, the bets that I have, etc. Like I said, I'm going to wait for some of these lines to kind of taper off because there is some crazy movement happening. But I'm going to wait for some of those to kind of settle before I make any bets. Anyways, guys, make sure you do your fight tape. This is a good supplement to all of your fight tape. But just have some fun watching fights. You know, take a couple notes if you want. Just focus on, does the guy get tired in the 3rd round? Does the lady have a lot of power for that division? Focus on stuff like that. Watch some fights, get your fight tape done, and if you do that and soak in these stats, you will be taking money from those bookies and putting it in your bank account. So again, thanks a ton, guys. Check out the prelim video if you have not already, and I will see you later in the week for the Game Theory DraftKings breakdown, UFC 235. Have a good one, guys.